Showtime! The Capital G Show starts right now.
What's up YouTube, Capital G here, doing another top 5 video, and today I'm talking about the top 5 decks that need more competitive support cards. Now, I guess the central theme for this video is gone but not forgotten, and I actually ended up with a list of some decks that have seen a lot of competitive success. You know, some of these decks have not only won YCSs but won multiple YCSs in a row, and I think the biggest problem these decks are facing is not, that the meta has gotten out of control or the speed of the game, but it's the fact that, some of these archetypes have not been awarded the same liberties as a deck like Six Samurai has been in, previous formats or era. You look at a deck like Samurai and, as we move to the 5Es era, Samurai got Synchro. As we move to the Zeal era, Samurai got an Exceed, but some of these decks haven't gotten new cards in, 2-3 years, so it's like they stand absolutely no chance of keeping up if you don't give them adequate cards that address the concerns that, most decks that are similar to them are going to have. Okay, so number 5, I have Worms. And Worms could be a pretty decent deck. The deck has good monster removal in, Worms X and Worm King. Worms X is actually really solid because it's Synchro and Exceed removal. But the deck has always been extremely limited offensively because I've said it before and I'll say it again. The deck has one good beat stick. I mean, you have an 1800 beat stick and that's it. And I think that this deck should be designed more like War Gods. War Gods is an archetype that seems to be overflowing with 17 to 1800, attack beaters. Not just that, but that deck has a themed Kalute and the ability to run Honest. I mean, where's the equality here? When I look at Worms, I think, they do some pretty good things. They have a lot of good themed support cards, but a lot of their lower level monsters, like, Castro, they don't do anything. You can't get any type of offense rolling here. So I think the solution for this deck is simple. Just give Worms some more beaters. Number 4, I'm going Gladiator Beast, and I feel like I'd be remiss not to mention all the good things that Glads do well. I mean, the deck has exceptional lockdown with Gladiator Beast, Chariot, Juggling, and then Heraclinos, obviously. You've got beaters that would make a deck like Worms jealous. You have good defensive and offensive monsters. And, I put Glads on this list because they're one of the most accomplished archetypes in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! They're also a fan favorite. The thing that Glads need, and it's so glaringly obvious, is simple. They need an Exceed monster. Take into consideration that Glads went the entire 5Es era without the remote possibility of being able to Synchro summon. They had no tuners, they had no Synchros, you just couldn't do it. And they still stayed marginally competitive. I mean, I think that's an accomplishment, but with Exceeds being the most powerful things that we have in the game, and the speed being so fast, that, I mean, the deck simply can't keep up. I mean, making a rank 4 Exceed for Gladiator Beast just screams duh. Number 3 is Blackwings. This is a deck that has good beaters, potent offense, searchers, synchro ability, but the one thing that Blackwings have definitely been lacking ever since they lost, well, basically every good card that they had to their name, as they just got restricted one by one, is a good lockdown card. Outside of Royal Oppression, which was never really a Blackwing support card, more or less just a card that worked exceptionally well in the deck, Blackwings have never had anything that remotely resemble a lockdown card. I mean, this deck has no trap, no spell negation. They have no ways to stop special summons. They have no ways to counteract effects. I mean, they don't have anything. Like, compare Gladiator Beast to what Blackwings have. Like, Glads have lockdown for fucking days. Blackwings don't have anything. I mean, this deck desperately needs just something resembling a good lockdown card, and I think Blackwings could be a really good deck again. Number 2 is Gravekeepers. Now, GKs are a deck that is designed to be inherently slow. You know this because the archetype was given multiple flip effects, and the flip effect itself is just a slow mechanic. However, it was given a Dynamite Field Spell, some really nice support cards, and just a really solid monster lineup across the board, much like a deck like Gladiator Beast. However, some of those theme cards make you just scratch your head. Let's start off with the fact that both boss monsters are pretty awful, and Gravekeeper's Visionary is just a card that makes you just say, what? Like, it needs a discard cost to activate its effect. But that's pretty much the opposite of what the deck does best, considering Royal Tribute is the best card in the deck not named Necro Valley. So it seems like a really counterproductive card. The deck is best at putting all its resources on the field extremely fast. So why would you ever want to keep cards in your hand? And while we're at it, if the deck is designed to be, one of those decks like GBs where you want all your resources on the board, then why are you given absolutely no ways to protect those resources? It just doesn't make any sense. Like, Gravekeepers need better boss monsters, and they need better ways of protecting the cards that they need to win. Hence, Necro Valley. Like, why are they not given a way to protect that? And don't say, Malefic Stardust. It's not like that card was made for Gravekeepers. Number 1 is Agents, a deck that has a great boss monster, a great searcher, and nothing else. Like, the archetype literally has 2 great monsters, 2 good ones, and then it just stops existing. Like, the archetype basically ceases right there. And I don't understand what they were doing with Agents, or how the fuck they sold a structure deck where the main focus of the deck is an archetype that consists of literally 4 monsters. Like, how is that possible? Venus and Jupiter are good cards. They are not great cards. And people keep asking me what's my opinion on Agents, and I always tell them every single time the same exact thing. It's an extremely dated deck that is extremely linear. Earth searches 1 good card, that being Venus, because nobody plays Jupiter. Venus has 1 good use, that being getting shine balls from the deck. But the problem is, once you use those effects once, then what are your other Venuses and Earths doing in your deck? Like, you have no use. You have no use for them once you draw them. You know what I mean? Each card it's one of those solo use cards, and it doesn't really make a lot of sense. They randomly made Earth a tuner, but they didn't give you any ways to take advantage of that. Like, it would have been one thing if they would have made a specific synchro for the Agent archetype, but they didn't do that. I mean, they gave Venus the ability to get shine balls from the deck, but they didn't give you any way to use that either. It just so happened that the Exceed mechanic later came out, which meant that you could use those shine balls for Gotchi or Daigusto, but, I mean, both of those plays were going to basically get dated after maybe a couple of formats. Like, how good do you really think Gotchi was going to be? Like, did you really think that play was going to stand the test of time? Hell no. So they gave you these plays or these options, but they didn't give you any ways to, like, really make advantage of them. The solution for Agents is simple. Like, they need more fucking monsters. You need more than an archetype constructed of 4 monsters to be good. Hyperion is one of the best boss monsters in the game, and it's really saddening to see that, Agents have, like, a really lackluster monster lineup, as opposed to something like Light Swarm, which were blessed with a godly boss monster, and they've got pretty much cards that do everything. You know what I mean? So, this deck just needs more monsters, and then maybe it can be remotely playable, but I don't see Agents ever coming to, back to the glory days until they get some really good support cards, some more monsters. I mean, that's the only way this deck is ever going to get good again. So let me know what you guys think. Thank you for watching as always. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Talk to you guys later. Subscribing makes life happy.